Hi, and welcome to one of our UMI Makes It Easier events. UMI exists to make it easier for you and your business to do more and go further. And we do that by taking the hard work out of finding and using the best information, expertise and finance. We've helped over 500,000 businesses do that, so you're in really good company. By the end of this event, you should be leaving with a better understanding and the ability to make decisions and take action much more quickly. So immediately after the event, you'll be sent an action plan to help you apply what you've got out of today, and along with the contacts and tools to get on and do just that. Have a great session, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You'll find our contact information at the bottom of all of our emails, but even easier, why not just go on to the SatNav service via the platform or mobile app and you'll find us there.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that introduction, and hi everyone, and thank you very much for joining today. For those of you I haven't met before, I'm Leah Waterhouse and I work at NatWest Group. My job is to be a climate propositions analyst. What does that actually mean? What we want to do at NatWest is just make your sustainable transition as easy as possible. So my job is to make sure that you've got the tools and resources to help support any decisions related to sustainability and climate change, and make sure that you've really got resources to work from. I know as part of the pre-work that we sent out, we've sent you tons of resources that you can get stuck into, and if you've got any questions around them, please do ask them in the Q&A at the end. But also what we're really conscious of is overwhelming people with a lot of information. We know sustainability is a massive topic. It's my day job and there's still so much information that I'm overwhelmed. So one of the key things we want to do at NatWest is really slim down that information. Make sure you're only seeing the information that's relevant to you, that will help you take action, as Nikki said, and really support you in making decisions. So what I wanted to start with today is what are NatWest climate ambitions, just to really show you how as a corporate we're taking action on climate, and also it will be relevant to you guys. You might be part of an SME business and you might be kind of struggling with what you want to do around sustainability and climate. So I think it's always helpful to start with what are we doing, how are we walking the walk as a corporate, and how are we also trying to support not only our customers in terms of SMEs, but also our suppliers and everything that we work with. We know as a big corporate we're part of the community as a whole, and we really want to help champion the potential of that community and support you wherever you can. So what's displayed on the slide here is part of our annual report. If you have a chance to read a very, very long document of about 100 pages, you'll see that we really talk about climate throughout that, and us being a purpose-led bank and purpose-led organisation. I know a lot of you are CEOs of your own business, and you might be thinking, how does our strategy link to this? But we've seen time and time again that a lot of our SMEs that come through our accelerator, so a lot of startup businesses that we work with, are really starting to make sure that they're purpose-led. And that's for a number of reasons, but primarily because it really helps them focus in and harness their strategy to help others. And it also really makes sure that the North Star that you're guiding as you're building up your business, that we've committed to by 2030 is firstly to halve the impact of our financing activity by 2030. So that's working with all of the customers to help them transition. It might be that we're working with a manufacturing business, for example, they've seen their energy costs spiral, and they're also using more and more energy as well because they're trying to ramp up and scale as a business. We really want to support that growth, but where possible, we want to make sure that's sustainable growth. So we want to ensure that where possible, they're using renewable energy, where process, and also looking at becoming more of a circular business. So the circular economy is all about not adding any waste to their kind of production cycle. And if you do have waste, for example, that's given to someone else. We had a great example recently with working with a brewery, and a lot of their waste material that they were previously getting rid of was given to a bread company down the road that they used in their manufacturing process. And I think that was an amazing case study that both of them have used with their customers to show how they're really harnessing becoming sustainable. But it also helps both of their businesses they're either getting rid of an output for free or getting a significant input for free, which is always a good thing, as you'll all know. What we also want to do is reduce the carbon intensity of our assets under management by 50% as well. So all of those things that we're investing in and managing, we want to make sure they're on a transitional path. And we also want to reduce the own emissions of our company by 50% as well. So that's things such as making sure all of our workplaces are more sustainable and people are able to sustainable way. For example, we've just put in a chargers on loads of our campuses. People can charge their car whilst they're at work, and they're small things, but actually they really act in a great way to really make a difference to how we're working. So after giving an introduction as to how we're taking action, I also just wanted to share with you guys some barriers to action that we're seeing from our customers. We've worked with over 2,000 of them over the last 18 months to really understand what is a barrier for our businesses in taking steps to be more sustainable, as well as working on their sustainable pathway, potentially to net zero. As a lot of you will know, for example, when you're working with a local council, they're all aiming for net zero by 2030. So if anyone is working with a local council, within their tender, they've got to include how they're looking at being more sustainable, what are they taking in terms of steps to be more sustainable, and how will working with the council help them be more sustainable. And they're all just really small examples of how people are experiencing more pressure to change, and therefore there is a need to change, but we also acknowledge there are massive barriers to action. And I've just really quickly summarised the top. Say over the 2,000 people we spoke to, there were a lot of different comments, but often they came down to these three core issues of a lack of time, a lack of finance, and not knowing where to start. I'm not pretending this is rocket science or things that people don't know, but I think it's really important to kind of think, how are you as businesses trying to get rid of these barriers to action? How can you get more time in order to focus on this? Are there finance capabilities that you're maybe not aware of that could support you? And also, how can you get more information that's tailored to where you could start? So if I just example, we know that it's been such a challenging environment for SMEs over the last 5 years. It might be supply chain pressures, inflationary pressures, but it really feels like there hasn't been much of a let up in terms of the need to pivot your business and make sure you're operating sustainably. However, we do know that what really helps is us being able to give you information in a really small way and really condensed to your exact needs. So we're really trying to address that, and I'll come on to that in more detail in a moment. We're also seeing that people believe there's a lack of finance and they're unaware of potential grants that they might get in order to be more sustainable. And there's actually a lot of money that's with local councils at the moment that they're struggling to distribute that's there for sustainability grants. So I'll walk through that again in more detail, but it doesn't have to be that you take on more debt in order to try and be more sustainable. It might be actually that there are grants out there that cover the whole or at least partially cover the cost of a renewable investment or a change in your business that will help you. We also understand that a lot of businesses at the moment are really debt laden. They've got through COVID through loans and they're still paying those back. That's completely understandable, and I think that's where grants really have a really big role to play in terms of making people more able to take those sustainability steps. And finally, not knowing where to start. I kind of covered this in our introduction, but we know there's so much information out there that it's hard to really pick through what you should take as a business. And we really understand how do we really make that information as accessible as possible and as easy to access as possible. As NatWest, in order to kind of take advantage of drivers of climate change rather than barriers. Often kind of climate change is really seen as a threat for businesses and something that they have to kind of adapt to over the next 10, 20 years. But what we're really trying to do is change that mindset into it being an opportunity. If you look at all the B Corps out there, they're really able to pick up a lot of customers due to their sustainability drives and due to the fact that within a supply chain, they might be more sustainable and therefore people are choosing them more. For example, if you look at Patagonia, their business model recently has been very much about the reuse of their clothing, how that people can come in and repair their clothing with them. This is sustainable, but it also means that people are willing to spend their money at Patagonia, and actually their business incomes have probably never been higher than the last 5 years or so, when they really harness this purpose drive. So it's really interesting to look at companies such as that, who've really harnessed purpose, being more sustainable and doing what's right for society, and how they've really benefited in their core business metrics that we might look at, such as turnover, profitability, etc. So we know we're in a challenging environment, but actually what can you do that helps you be more sustainable, that actually gives you more business advantages? So for example, I've touched on this slightly, being part of a supply chain and being more sustainable can really, really help you be more competitive as a business. What I'd like to use as an example here is the core supermarkets. They're obviously being really pushed to be more sustainable. We know agriculture and food are some of the highest contributors to greenhouse gases and to things that might exacerbate climate change. And we know that they're really, really being pushed to reduce packaging, for example. And what we've also seen is that they've pushed this pressure down the chain and to their smallest suppliers as well as their biggest suppliers. And it's just a kind of ripple effect that's going down and down and down. And that's not just the sector, manufacturing in many other places, because big supermarket knows they can make difference to their output and their changes, but actually the supply chain is where they're really, really going to see a difference in terms of their output. So really would encourage any of you who are small businesses looking to scale, how can you look at making your business more sustainable to be more competitive as part of the supply chain, if that's something that you're aiming to look at and you're aiming to be part of. We really have seen businesses that have really leaned into climate change, leaned into sustainability, being some of the stronger people on our books. In terms of the second driver, it's cost savings. Don't need to tell you that energy prices have gone up. We've all experienced it personally as well as in a commercial environment, but we've really seen costs going up, and renewable energy can be one of the ways that is a really quick way to get some payback on higher energy bills, and actually be able after 2-3 years to say I've got more money than I did as a result of putting in renewable energy. And those renewable energy assets should be here for the next 5, 10, 15 years, actually making me money rather than taking money away. Obviously every case differs, every kind of payback period will be different, but what we are encouraging people to do is really look at something such as solar panels. You might have looked at it 5 years ago and the business case didn't really add up. However, if you're looking now with higher energy costs, is that something that might be needed? We see a lot of people in the hospitality, leisure and care sectors who've really leaned into being more sustainable in terms of their businesses with really high energy costs. They've leaned into sustainability and they've really been able to make some cost savings, as well as being able to advertise to people, we're using solar in our gym, for example. We're using solar to power all of our lights in our restaurants. And it does really make a difference to customers that they're seeing. And that leads into the third point. What the other driver is really being clear on what the business case is for sustainability. It's not just a nice thing to do or the right thing to do or a moral activity. It can really, really help your business grow, help your business be sustainable in the widest sense of the word, not just in a green sense. So how do we know what your cost might be of solar panels? How do we know what that payback period is? We really need to make that clear to people because it can be a really big driver. So then I thought I'd move on to some tools as to how NatWest can help. As I outlined at the start, my role is really to make sure that people are accessing tools from NatWest, and all the tools that I'm about to go through are completely free to access. They're also available to customers and non-customers, most importantly. So I'd really encourage you just to have a look into the tools that I'm going to go through. I've got 3 that I'm going through now, and just have a look as to whether they could be relevant to your business or whether they could be of interest. A lot of them take only a few minutes to go through, so I'd really encourage you to have a look and see if it would be helpful for you. So the first tool I'm going to go through is NatWest Carbon Planner. as I've just covered. If you don't remember anything else I've said, it's free and open to everyone, even if you're not a NatWest customer. But basically what NatWest Carbon Planner allows you to do is enter some information about your business. So for example, your energy costs, how you work with suppliers, what materials you use, and then you're able to have a carbon footprint. Why do we think this is helpful, having a carbon footprint? It all goes back to the supply chain pressures and being able to put on your tender, this is our carbon footprint, and this is where we're at currently, and this is the actions we're taking. So once you've got your carbon footprint, we also give you some actions you could take. I've used solar panels already, so I'll try and use a different example, which might be transitioning your fleet from a diesel or petrol to electric fueled vehicles. Something like that is something you can put in a tender, explain to someone as steps you're taking to be more sustainable, and it can really, really help you understand how you're being more sustainable and help someone you're supplying to understand that too. The actions are also super simple. So when we provide you with an action such as decarbonising your fleet, we give you an idea of what the payback period could be on that, what the cost could be on that, what the financing cost could be, and also the carbon footprint reduction. Obviously, we can't tailor this exactly to your business, but we've worked with consultants to really get a good idea of what the general payback period and cost could be. What you can do if you're kind of interested in making that more tailored is get in touch with us as NatWest, and we can give you a bit more information on that. But what we want Carbon Planner to do is give you that high level information and that overview that might make you then look into taking action. We also outline on NatWest Carbon Planner loads of resources, some of which have already been provided to today. So really looking into renewable energy, fleet transition, and those kind of things. So that's our first tool, and I really would encourage you to look at it. Just type in NatWest Carbon Planner and it pops straight up on Google, and you can have a look on there. The second tool I wanted to go through is our EV planner. As you can see, a common theme with planners, but EV standing for electric vehicle. And what we've done is we've worked with a partner called Diode, which is a UK-based technology company, and what they're able to do is understand how easy it might be for you to transition your fleet from petrol or diesel to an electric vehicle. From this information, it probably takes about 10 minutes to fill in, but you can get an idea as to how your fleet could operate, or if you're a business which has 5 or 6 cars, let's say, and a lot of the cars are owned personally by employees of the business, how could you work with them in order to get a salary sacrifice scheme in place that might save your employees money, but also might make your business more sustainable. So as I say, it is 10 minutes or so. I've done it myself. It's really, really user-friendly, really easy to see, and it can really help you understand if you're not ready to transition your whole fleet of vehicles. Could you just have one, for example? We've got some estate agents that we're working with, and obviously they're making small trips around a relatively small area in some cases, and they've been able to transition 75% of their fleet into electric vehicles whilst keeping 25% as internal combustion engine, so that if there are any longer journeys, they know they've got an option. And I think this is what it's all about. It's not about taking the massive step to be fully decarbonised as a fleet, but it's taking those small steps that make sense for you as a business to decarbonise now. It might also be that if you're based in a ULEZ zone or a zone which has charging for congestion charge, that electric vehicles actually save you money. So you can look at putting those electric vehicles in those certain areas, whereas other areas an internal combustion engine might suit you. Knowing all of that information, and Diode can really help to put that all together into a business case for you. So as I said, it distills that information. It means you've got to do a little less research yourself. So please do have a look at that. Diode are also happy to speak to you personally. If you go through this tool, we can set up a conversation with them as well. So if you are interested in it, please do have a look at the tool, or please do contact me personally. My name's Leah Waterhouse, and you can find me on LinkedIn, or if you email a general NatWest mailbox, which you can find online, you can also find me as well. So do have a look at that and see if that might be of interest. And then finally, we've got our energy journey. And what I've just done is taken a snapshot of what we have here on our external sites. But basically, we've got these 5 abilities that can really help with reducing cost. As you've no doubt realised from me going through today, we are really focused on saving our customers costs, and therefore they can take those first steps to being sustainable because of a cost driver. And then there might be other steps that they want to take in due course that help them be more sustainable as a whole, and there's different kind of benefits from doing so. But firstly, we've got the ability to identify energy savings. So we're working with another partner called PERSE, that's P-E-R-S-E, and basically they're able to understand what your energy use has been in about a 24-hour period. They just give you a report based on your address and your location, and they might be able to give you possible ways of saving. So if you type in NatWest PERSE onto the internet, you'll be able to kind of look into that and see more options. I'll also provide Rory as well with all of the links that he can send via email so that you don't have to source them yourself. But I'd really recommend that tool, because all you have to do there is put in your postcode and make sure that you're in agreement with the terms and conditions, and PERSE can give you a report within 24 hours. And that's something, again, I've done myself personally, but I've also done for NatWest, and it's really interesting the information they give back to you and the information you can see. We've also got the ability to explore solar. So again, we've worked with a partner and they're called Absolar. What they're able to do is look at your energy costs and see if solar is right for you. So much like the electric vehicle transition tool that I've just walked through with Diode, they're able to look, because they're solar specialists, is this something that's right for you? And they've also got the ability to link you up with installers as well, if that would be something of interest. We understand that a lot of the customers we've worked with solar, they don't know who could be a supplier who could install it for them. One of the things that Absolar are really good at, just guiding you through the process. Obviously there's, as I speak through all the partners that we're working with currently, there are loads of different work with anyone that you want to. What we've done as NatWest is just find some options for you that you can do your own due diligence on, but hopefully it saves you a bit of time in looking across the whole market. But do have a look at these options alongside others and see if that can help you. And next, we've also got the ability to switch to a sustainable tariff. So again, one of the partners we're working with is Octopus here, and we have an Octopus business tariff that could potentially save you £100 or so. So again, we'll send you all of the links, but do have a look into that. It could be something of interest for you. We've also got the ability to fund your transition. Obviously, NatWest are a bank. We do have those kind of products that might be of use to you. And again, I'll send the links through to Rory, but we have products such as green loans, which can help you save potentially on most of your loan because we don't charge an administration fee for a green loan, whereas we do for some traditional use of finance. So again, just want to kind of bring out all of these options and all of these tools that we have accessible to you guys, because I think the more that you know, the more empowered you are to make decisions. Might be that you don't want to move forward with any of these things, but knowing that they're in existence is always helpful. So that's all I wanted to go through today. Again, a massive thanks for attending the webinar. It's really great to have you involved with us today, and I'd like to pass on to any questions if we have any, Rory.
Yep, we've got one question that's in here now, and that's what do you see happening in the next year that might change the business's attitude to sustainability?
That broke up a bit there, Rory. I think there might be a bit of a delay going on. I think it was kind of how a business is looking to change over the next year or so, or how might things change in the next year or so. Obviously, we've kind of had a lot of information from local governments, from regional governments, that there might be support coming, and that's something guarantee that, and we don't know how that will affect us as a whole. But what will be quite interesting is how businesses adapt to announcements such as the movement of new internal combustion engines being banned in 2030. Over the last week, that deadline got moved to 2035, for example. So it's really interesting to see how businesses react, whether there'll be still movement to make that change, or whether they'll need to wait for more change to come and more regulation to come. What I do think will actually be the main driver is energy costs. Where will they move in the next 12 months? I think anyone's guess is as good as anyone else's. If they do stay at the level they are or rise again, it will be interesting to see how people maybe look more at renewable energy again, because that is something that can really give you a saving in your energy costs.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for answering that question. And just moving on to next steps. Let us know how it went. Complete our event survey in the follow-up email. You can discover a more sustainable future by signing up for free to the NatWest Carbon Planner, and also use Insights NatWest Business for insights into sustainability for your business. All the links will be available in the follow-up email. And thank you very much for attending. And thank you very much to Leah for delivering a really how increasing profitability by reducing your carbon footprint. Brilliant. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much indeed.